This is Up Close. I'm Stephen I. Weiss. Faith can mean many different things to many different people. For some, the belief that miracles and prophecies exist today is a basic assumption. In this week's episode, we're exploring one yeshiva-educated young man's report on a Mormon pilgrimage and speaking with two Orthodox women who've made a best-selling series out of reporting on contemporary miracles. Avi Steinberg is known to many for his previous book about being a prison librarian, but he ventured far beyond that to explore what believing Mormons have to say about Jerusalem, Central America, and rural United States. His travels are assembled in The Lost Book of Mormon, a journey through the mythic lands of Nephi, Zarahemla, and Kansas City, Missouri. Yitta Halberstam and Judith Leventhal have produced 8 books in the Small Miracles series, including a New York Times bestseller. Their latest volume reports on claims that the dead are not completely lost to us. We discuss small miracles from beyond, dreams, visions, and signs that link us to the other side. But first, here's my interview with Avi Steinberg. Nice Jewish boy. What are you doing going on a Mormon pilgrimage?
That's an excellent question. I actually consider the Book of Mormon a very Jewish book, which I realize is going to strike some people, I don't know, in different ways, I guess.
It's not the most Jewish of books, certainly.
I don't know. It depends how you look at it. I mean, the thing that struck me, initially about the book, and which I still consider to be kind of, for me, the pull, is actually the Jewish stuff. I mean, in some ways, it's a Jewish novel. It's like a 20th century Jewish novel. You have people coming from the old world on a boat, coming to the new world, and trying to make it in the new world. That's what the Book of Mormon is about. As
an author, you kind of try to get into the head of Joseph Smith, the initial prophet of Mormonism, and say, what was this guy in the 1820s thinking? And ultimately, that if you're going to write a book, and you want something to stick, a sequel to the Bible, that is going to sell.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. It struck me as very American to try to go all the way, to really just go for the gold, go for the top, and saying, that you're going to write a sequel to the Bible. To me is it's audacious in a way that seems very American to me. On the other hand, Jesus also, had this sense that he was going to go for the top and go straight for it. And there's something, at some point, I think certain kind of author is always going to see themselves as going for, that's the gold standard sort of literature, is the Bible. So anyone who's really going for it is going to go for that.
You open yourself up to the kind of the Mormon experience, and you go through this pilgrimage. Tell us about the pilgrimage.
When I was in Jerusalem and finishing my first book, I was really thinking about, I was in Jerusalem and working on this book, which was not related to Jerusalem, but I just happened to be there while I was working on the book, and I was thinking a lot about what it means to become an author and what that's about. And it struck me, I was thinking about Jerusalem stories, and Joseph Smith, his book, which the Book of Mormon, which starts in Jerusalem, really struck me as this fascinating link between, to me, what were the two important traditions, the Jewish tradition and the American literary tradition, which to me were totally separate, tracks.
And now, Small Miracles from Beyond with Yitta Halberstam and Judith Leventhal. You've been doing a best-selling series on small miracles, little things that happen in people's lives that you believe reveal kind of a supernatural events going on in the world. But one of the things that struck me in going through the book was that some of these people really do believe these are miracles, and some people kind of joke about it, say, well, I don't know, but maybe.
Well, somebody famously said, and I'm sorry that I can't attribute it, but someone once said, for a believer, no amount of evidence is ever necessary, and for a skeptic, no amount of evidence is ever sufficient. So obviously, when we look at these stories, whether we're reading them or recounting them or listening to them, we are filtering them through the prism of our already entrenched beliefs. And so if we want to believe them, we will, and if we're skeptical, we'll remain skeptics.
And Einstein said, either you believe nothing in life is a miracle, or you believe everything in life is a miracle. And we subscribe to the latter. In
your introduction, Yitta, you talk about the need to, why believe in these things, what kind of needs it fulfills. What kinds of needs are stories like this fulfilling?
Well, in the first 7 books, Small Miracles from Beyond is our 8th book, but in the first 7 books, we looked at coincidences through a spiritual prism, redefining them as God incidences, not coincidences. And I think that a lot of people resonated with it because the message was, Our lives are not random, they're not haphazard. There really is no such thing as fate, luck, chance, but they are really all little taps on the shoulder, waves from heaven, hellos from God, telling us that in small, everyday, personal ways, God is with us.
And also, to just add to that, is that when we pray, we speak to God. And when a small miracle happens, that's God speaking to us. And when we get that message, it's like getting a personal letter. Like, what do you do when you get a personal letter? You throw it out? Of course not. You open it up, you read it. So we really miss out on something so valuable when we look at coincidences that happen and just mark it up to happenstance. So that so these coincidences, they're really gifts. They're gifts, and what a shame to just make it into something meaningless.
As a psychotherapist, how does your training and how does your experience flow into that in terms of what people are looking for, and when is it healthy and when is it unhealthy to be looking for these things?
You know, which one of us doesn't ask, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing here? Are we alone in the cosmos, you know? The truth is, I do wear two different hats. You know, the psychotherapist role and the writer role, those are two different hats, and I don't really merge the two that much, but it gives a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning to one's life when they really have not only belief, but a knowing, a deep knowing, like a resonance that there is something bigger in our life than just what we see. There are other dimensions. The other books didn't really talk about these other dimensions, but this does. And I find that to be so exciting. It's so uplifting, it's so inspiring to know that it's not just what you see is what you get. There's so much more out there.
That's all for this week's abbreviated web episode of Up Close. A reminder, you can see the full episode of Up Close on the Jewish channel on cable. The Jewish channel is available on cable: Time Warner Cable Channel 1640, IOPLING Channel 505, RCN Channel 268, Cox Cable Channel 1, Bright House Channel 330, Verizon Fios Channel 900, and on Comcast on the on-demand menu on premium channels. For more information, visit tjctv.com.